Good morning. So it's been 3 weeks since I've done a coffee chat, and I am so out of sorts this morning. I'm starting 10 minutes late because I moved into my study, which I think I told you guys about before I went on my break 3 weeks ago. And so I had this whole system down. When I was doing them in the kitchen, I knew where all the lights went and how to set up my phone and everything. And then I worked up until the last minute before I decided to go live this morning, and I started setting up my lights and stuff. And I got a new phone before Christmas, so my phone's bigger than my old one. And I tried to snap it into the little holder thing so I could use my light, and the holder just broke. So my phone fell on the floor, but it's not broken. And while my phone was falling on the floor, my laptop went off balance and fell too. So I'm having some tech difficulties getting back into the swing of things today, which is kind of my week. So yeah, I took 3 weeks off, and I came back on Wednesday. Wednesday was my first day back, and I just feel like I'm having an out-of-body experience from my break. But I am so happy to be back. I missed coffee chat so much. I was thinking of things like the whole entire 3 weeks, like, oh my gosh, I want to share this on a coffee chat, but I wasn't doing coffee chat. So anyway, I hope you guys had awesome holidays. I feel like every year I say I'm going to be ready, going to be ready, going to be ready. Well, this year I was out doing last minute things on Christmas Eve, which I absolutely hate, but it all got done. Christmas Day went off without a hitch. And my favorite week of the year consistently is the one between Christmas and New Year's, because that's when everything just kind of shuts down and all the noise and everything is over. And I feel like I'm just able to truly take a break, and that's what I did. I took a really good long break, and one of the breaks I took was from social media. So I didn't do a social media fast for the entire 3 weeks, but I did for one solid week. From Christmas Eve through New Year's Eve, I did not get on social media at all. And the interesting thing was I decided it was going to be like my own little experiment I did for myself, because there have been very few times that I've done just a total fast from social media. So I think the first thing I noticed was that I would sit down on my lounge chair in front of the fireplace with my cup of tea or whatever. And normally I would scroll through my social media feeds just for something to do in my free time. And when I stopped doing that, I felt, especially when I was alone, I felt like a little bit lonely and isolated, because I find that oftentimes I go to social media when I'm craving connection, and, it gives you that sort of false sense of connection. Which, is not a good thing. So what I did instead was I started to text and call people, which is a really good thing, because I felt like I was able to more personally connect with people than I would have if I just went to my feed to see what everyone's up to. So I think it was good in that sense. But I also had this FOMO going on, the fear of missing out thing. I felt like I was missing out on people's Christmas celebrations and not seeing their pictures and things. So a little bit of that too. And I think the hardest part though was that whenever I take a break from social media, that means I'm not interacting in my Facebook groups at all. And we have a private Facebook group for the Winter Style Challenge. And I just kind of went radio silent in that group for at least a week, which made me feel really, really guilty, because I pre-scheduled my outfit pictures, so they were still posting in that group, and I wasn't commenting on, or I wasn't responding to comments on my photos. So honestly, I think that was the biggest struggle for me, was just knowing that I feel like I'm letting people down whenever I'm not doing that. But I did announce beforehand that I was going to be taking a little bit of a break. So GYPO pretties are the most understanding women in the entire world. So I don't think anybody thought twice about it. But otherwise, I mean, I'm talking about kind of some of the negatives of taking the break. I didn't miss it at all. I felt like my anxiety level kind of went down a bit. It's it's weird, because at first it's kind of like an addiction where you're missing it and missing it and missing it, and then you just get far enough removed from it where you start to feel like, okay, I could have my life without this. It was weird, because I felt like it was Christmases of past where we didn't have social media, and I was just fully present and completely involved and there with my family. And we even had a talk with our kids, our our oldest child, Devin, he's 22, the one that just graduated from college. And he said to me, you know, it's weird to think about the fact that Aubrey and I, my middle daughter, who's 19, we're probably the last generation that knows what it's like to grow up without constant social media and being online all the time. And they were talking about happy memories they had when we lived in our old house when they were little, and how they would go out in the neighborhood and play with the kids. And now everybody just gets online and plays games together instead of doing that. And so anyway, I was just kind of glad that we were all able to step back from that. And it's given me some fresh perspective going into the new year. You know, I've talked before about having social media limits and what works for me, but I've just sort of eased back into it. I'm doing about 10 to 15 minutes a day, mainly for work, just going into my groups and checking in on things, but not really missing my own feed terribly much, although I'm sure that I will slide back into that as time goes by. But anyway, that was my little social media experiment. Some of my highlights from being on my break, and that I'm going to be talking a little bit more about, are that I got my eyebrows microbladed. I had lots of questions about this, and I did an Instagram story about it and some posts. I am going to be doing a full blog post with my experience and photos along the way. My brows are, I didn't realize this. Actually, I did a little bit of research, but not a ton. I dove into this decision a little bit. I normally research things to death and find out all of the things that can happen. And this time I was like, nope, I'm just gonna do this. I'm not gonna overanalyze it. I'm gonna dive right in. But one of the things that I found out is that microblading is really a two-step process. So you go in for your initial appointment where you get the outline done and most of the filling in done, and then you have to go back about 4 to 6 weeks later to get the rest of the filling in done. So I'm between that right now. My eyebrows are not yet finished, but I already love them. It's been awesome. Like this eyebrow, I was missing most of the end of it, so it's nice to have that filled in again and not have to draw it on every day. It saves me time. I just kind of take a little spoolie and lightly brush my brows. They are still in a healing process, so I have to be really careful with them. I think the hardest part of the whole process was that I could not get my brows wet for 10 days, which made it really hard to wash my hair and face, but I got through it. I'm on the other side of that now, and I can already say that it was totally worth it. So if you're thinking about doing it, then definitely worth it. So I will be doing a full blog post on that soon. Another highlight was our son graduated from college on December 15th, which was cool. The whole family got to go and celebrate with him. But it was kind of a weird Christmas for us because this is the first year that our two older kids weren't with us on New Year's. And they have their own lives now. Devin had to go back to work. He's working now, so he left to go back to the town where his college is. And Aubrey went on vacation with her roommate's family. So it was just Craig and Ava and me for New Year's. And Ava has her own life. She's so independent. She just kind of goes off and does her own thing. So Craig and I were having to fill our time, but we found ways to do it. We did some fun date night things. We went to see Christmas lights at the Arboretum and went out to our favorite restaurant and filled our time up. So we thoroughly enjoyed our break together. And I really just felt very refreshed and recharged. And this past week, I was able to look at some things on deck for GYPO and some stuff that we want to do in the year ahead. And I'm very excited about some upcoming things. I wanted to announce a few of those things today. But first off, I'm going to say that it's the new year, so I feel like I need to address resolutions and goal setting and all that kind of stuff. And the thing is, I don't set resolutions anymore. I stopped doing that, gosh, I'm gonna say probably at least 10 years ago, because resolutions just really never worked for me. And maybe they work for you, I don't know, but they totally don't work for me. I have to set goals, and my goals have to have deadlines. And I heard one time that a goal without a deadline is a dream. So keep that in mind. If you have goals, definitely set deadlines. And I try not to kill myself with goals for the year. I pick maybe 3 to 5 personal goals and 3 to 5 business goals. And then of course there are a lot of sub goals under those, but they're just kind of like a bigger overriding theme for the year. And it's a lot easier and more manageable to deal with in that way. And if this is something that you struggle with or something that you want to reset and work on in the year ahead, we will be doing a 28-day life coaching challenge right here on Facebook and Instagram, and it's going to start in February. And the reason we're starting in February is that I feel like this time of the year, we all get really overwhelmed with wanting to make changes and, you know, setting goals and all this good stuff. And we start out with really, really good intentions, but we burn out really quickly. So I like to wait until February when all of this stress and pressure is off, and then kind of refocus at that point in time. So the Rediscover Me Challenge is a 28-day challenge. It's going to be completely free to this community. I have had it out for about 3 years. And it used to be a program that cost $99, but I feel like it's like packed with value. And honestly, the feedback that we've gotten from the women who have done this challenge has been that this has been their favorite that they've ever done. It really forces you to kind of dig deep. We touch on every area of life: relationships, health and wellness, how to say no more effectively. Literally everything is included in this challenge, and it's a great way to set goals. It's also a good way to just kind of hit the reset button and decide, you know, what's important to you and what you want to focus on in the year ahead. We do it for 28 days, but honestly, this is a challenge that most women who have done it before, we start it every single year, and they do it over and over and over again because, number one, you're going to learn something new about yourself every time, and number two, our goals change from time to time. So I have actually personally done it twice a year before. I do it in February, and then I go back again in September, because to me, September feels like a beginning of a new year too. It's when I really like to hit the reset button, when, you know, it's usually been when the kids have gone back to school and I feel like I can refocus on myself again. So, but we will be doing this February 1st to 28th. Each day you'll have a video to watch, you'll have a PDF to print out, and some lessons to do. And honestly, it's something that can be done in about 5 to 10 minutes a day. So it's not going to suck up a lot of your time and resources and energy. But I think that it's really beneficial for us to do this as a group, because we can have the discussions about it and share what's going on with each other. So in order to get the information about this, you're going to want to sign up for the GYPO newsletter list. I'll be sending out some more information, letting you know how to sign up and where. So to join that list, you're going to go to getyourprettyon.com/the-list. And sign up there. You're going to see a closet staples wardrobe shopping list. That's what you'll sign up for. So you'll get a little freebie too. But that's going to put you on my newsletter list so that you're not going to miss out whenever we start the Rediscover Me Challenge as a community. Something else I wanted to announce is that we are doing a GYPO Best of the Best 2018. So this is going to be a reader voted list. So if you've ever read Allure magazine, or, you know, one of these other magazines that does their, like, Good Housekeeping, that does their picks for the year. So this is going to be a list that's going to be user generated. And we're going to be voting on things like your favorite white t-shirt, your favorite red lipstick, your favorite fiction novel. There's going to be a lot of different categories in there. And then once all the votes are tabulated and counted, there will be a big blog post about this on January 23rd on GYPO. So please vote for that. I've included a link in the Facebook Live. You can also go to the blog and find it in the most recent blog post, which was the one about workwear style your budget. And we'll probably also have a link in the Instagram profile as well for that. So please vote for your favorites. I can't wait to see what you guys have to share with the community. We tried to pick the topics that are questions that we get asked most often. So definitely check that out. Something else I have coming up very soon, I'm shooting to release this in February, is a makeup class. So if you've been stuck in a makeup rut, I'm going to show you 10 things that I've been doing differently in the past year that have helped me kind of get out of my makeup rut that I was stuck in for 10 years. So if that's something that you'd like to focus on, maybe that's one of your goals for the new year, is to find some new ways to do your makeup, then definitely I would love for you guys to check that out. But that will be released in February. One more thing. I know our community is always interested in organizing resources and wanting, you know, as we start the new year, maybe that's another one of your goals, is to get more organized. Next week, I'm going to be sharing with you a closet cleaning guide. I'm going to have a PDF that you're going to be able to download and print out and follow the instructions. So be sure to tune in to next Friday's coffee chat, because I'll be sharing that information with you then. And one of the interesting things that I find about closet cleaning is that it is a very emotional process. So we're going to also address the emotions. I actually went to dinner with some friends last night. We do an annual ornament exchange, which none of us were able to get together before Christmas, so we went last night, and we were talking about this topic of closet cleaning. And I think what we really just kind of got to the heart of was that we hold on to stuff because of emotional attachments with it. So, you know, one of the things that really helped me out was reading The Magic of Tidying Up. If you haven't read that book yet, definitely give it a read. At first it overwhelmed me, and I didn't feel like, I felt like I couldn't tackle everything that was in that book, but I did eventually go through it and do a lot of the things, you know, like cleaning out my drawers in my closet in particular. And it really helped me with the emotional attachment aspect of doing that process and just really, you know, kind of letting go of things. So I highly recommend that book. If this is something that you're interested in doing in the year ahead, then check that out first. But next week we'll be talking about my own personal method and how I organize my closet and how I make it much less overwhelming than it needs to be. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in today. I am so happy to be back with Coffee Chats, and I will see you here next Friday to talk about closet cleaning. I hope you guys tune in then. And if you like this Coffee Chat, feel free to share it with your friends. I'll see you then. Bye.